It was supposed to be just another expat bash in Seville, the kind where Americans like me chase the sun and pretend we're reinventing ourselves. I'd been in Spain for 6 months, nursing a freelance graphic design gig that paid in euros and heartbreak. Ever since my New York apartment felt too small for my unraveling dreams. The party was at Elena's sprawling hillside home, a converted olive mill overlooking the Guadalquivir River, where tapas flowed like apologies and flamenco guitars wailed from hidden speakers. I'd shown up in my thrift store linen shirt and jeans that hugged my hips just right, nursing a gin and tonic, scanning the crowd for faces that didn't scream tourist trap. That's when I saw her. Amaya. She was leaning against the stone balustrade, a cigarette dangling from her full lips, her dark curls tumbling like they'd been kissed by the Sierra Morena winds. Mid-20s maybe, with skin like polished terracotta and eyes that held the green flash of the Atlantic at dusk. She wore a simple red slip dress that clung to her curves without apology, laughing at something a silver-haired Spaniard said. Her voice a low, throaty melody that cut through the chatter. I don't know what possessed me, maybe the heat, maybe the third drink, but I crossed the terrace, offering her a fresh glass of Albarino like it was a lifeline. Stranded in paradise? I quipped, my American twang slicing the air. She turned, arching one perfectly sculpted brow, and sized me up like I was a sketch she might frame or crumple. More like exiled, she replied, her English flawless but laced with that rolling Andalusian rhythm. And you? Escaping the concrete jungle. Amber, I said, extending my hand. From Brooklyn. The jungle's eating me alive. Amaya, she murmured, her grip firm, warm, lingering a beat too long. From right here. But sometimes home feels like the real cage. We talked then, words spilling like the river below. About the ache of roots that pull too tight, the freedom of strangers who see you raw. She was a painter, scraping by on commissions for tourists who wanted their faces immortalized in oil, dreaming of a gallery in Madrid that would never call. I confessed my stalled portfolio, the ex who called me too much before ghosting me for a barista with safer edges. The night blurred. Shared dances under string lights, her hand on my waist guiding me through a clumsy sardana. Whispers about the stars that looked brighter in Spain than anywhere else. By midnight the party thinned. Elena, our gracious host, a fiery Catalan divorcee who'd adopted half of Seville, waved us off with slurred blessings. Amaya's apartment was across the river, a hike in heels, and mine was a rented piso in the Barrio Santa Cruz, labyrinthine and close. Walk with me? She asked, and I nodded, the gin making my pulse a reckless drum. The streets wound like secrets, narrow and shadowed, the air thick with jasmine and distant guitar strums. We stumbled, laughed. Over uneven cobblestones, her arm linked in mine, our shoulders brushing electric. At my door, under the flicker of a gas lamp, she leaned in, breath minty with wine. One more drink. I whispered, and she smiled, that devastating curve of her lips, and followed me up the creaky stairs. Inside, the room was a chaos of half-unpacked boxes and sun-faded posters, Bob Dylan glaring from the wall, a reminder of roads not taken. We collapsed onto the bed, legs tangled in a platonic heap, passing a bottle of Tinto back and forth. Stories turned intimate. Her abuela's tales of Civil War ghosts, my mom's endless bridge games in Jersey diners. Her fingers traced idle patterns on my knee, innocent as rain, but my skin hummed. Then the flute, hers, swiped from the party, slipped from her grasp as she gestured wildly about a lost love, a woman who'd left her for the stability of a Barcelona banker. The crash yanked us back, reality's rude alarm. She sat up, cheeks flushed, staring at the glittering mess. Dios mío, Amber. What are we doing? I knelt, gathering shards, my hands trembling not from the spill but from the proximity, her scent of salt and citrus enveloping me. Living, I said softly, meeting her gaze. Just living. She pulled me up then onto the bed beside her, our foreheads touching, breath sinking in the quiet. No grand declarations, no fevered kisses from the movies. Just her head on my shoulder, my arm around her waist. The world shrinking to this borrowed room. We fell asleep like that. Tangled in clothes and unspoken promises, the party a distant echo. Morning light sliced through the shutters like a verdict. I woke first, her curls splayed across my pillow, one leg thrown over mine in sleepy claim. Panic fluttered, had I crossed a line? But as she stirred, blinking those sea-green eyes, a smile broke slow and sure. Buenos dias, Brooklyn, she murmured, and something in me cracked open, raw and real. We spent the day wandering Triana, the potter's quarter, her hand slipping into mine as we haggled over ceramics painted with azulejo blues. She bought me a small tile etched with a lover's knot, pressing it into my palm with a wink. For luck, she said. I laughed, but inside it felt like fate's first stitch. That week blurred into a montage of stolen moments. Sketching sessions in the Alcazar Gardens where she'd capture my profile in charcoal, smudging the lines with her thumb. Late-night vermouths at hole-in-the-wall tabernas, her foot nudging mine under the table. Confessions under the Giralda's shadow about fears that kept us small. Amaya was fire, passionate rants about Franco's lingering specters, tender sketches of street cats she'd feed from her pocket. I was water, steady but swirling, drawing her stories like ink. But cracks showed early. A phone call she'd taken hushed tones, her face tightening like a storm front. Familia, she'd dismiss, but her eyes darted away. Mine buzzed too. Texts from my sister in Queens, urging me home for Thanksgiving, reminding me Spain was a detour, not a destination. One evening, as we picnicked on the riverbank with Manchego and Membrillo, she grew quiet. Amber, she said, tracing the tile in my hand. It's like a dream I didn't know I was having. I leaned in, lips brushing her temple. Then let's not wake up. She nodded, but shadows lingered in her gaze, hints of tempests brewing beneath her sunlit skin. Weeks melted into a rhythm that felt dangerously like home. Amaya's studio was a sun-drenched garret above a bakery in the Macarena district, walls plastered with half-finished canvases, vibrant abstracts of flamenco dancers frozen mid-stomp, their skirts swirling like bloodied petals. I'd arrive with café con leche from the corner, settling on her worn velvet chaise to watch her work. Her brushstrokes were fierce, almost violent, coaxing color from chaos, and I'd tease her about the paint flecks dotting her cheeks like accidental constellations. "You're my muse now," she'd say, dipping a finger in cerulean and swiping it across my collarbone, her touch light as a promise. We'd laugh, collapsing into each other. Bodies fitting like puzzle pieces worn smooth by time we hadn't had. No rush, no desperation. Just the slow burn of hands interlaced during sunset walks along the Plaza de España's tiled bridges, or her head in my lap as I read aloud from Lorca's poems, my voice weaving through the dusk. Seville embraced us, or so it seemed. We joined a queer art collective at a hidden bar in the Alameda, where drag queens with voices like velvet thunder shared stories of survival under Franco's boot. Amaya fit there, her laughter a beacon, while I, the wide-eyed Yankee, soaked it in, feeling less like an interloper. One night, after a poetry slam where she recited a piece about hearts stitched from shadows, a wiry poet named Javier pulled me aside. "She's special, your Amaya. But careful, her fire burns hot, and sometimes it singes the hand that holds it." I brushed it off, chalking it up to barroom envy, but his words lodged like a thorn. That night, back in my piso as rain pattered the tiled roof. A rare Andalusian downpour. Amaya traced the scar on my knuckle from a childhood bike crash. "Tell me everything," she urged, her vulnerability a mirror to mine. So I did. The coming-out dinner where my dad raised his glass with quiet pride. The college girlfriend who shattered me by choosing her family's vineyard over us. The freelance hustle that dragged me to Spain chasing pixels and peace. She listened, fingers weaving through my auburn waves, then shared her own ghosts. Growing up in a conservative barrio where her love for women was whispered as sin, the aunt who'd sheltered her with dog-eared copies of Radcliffe Hall. "But you," she said, eyes shining, "you make me believe in more." Our first real kiss happened then. In the lamplight's gold, soft and searching, tasting of rain and redemption. It wasn't fireworks. It was hearth warm, enduring. We pulled back, foreheads pressed, and whispered plans. A trip to Ronda's Gorge. A joint exhibit in Granada, futures sketched in tentative strokes. Yet the shadows deepened. Her phone calls grew frequent, voices muffled behind closed doors. Once I caught a snippet. "No, Mama, it's not like that," her tone edged with steel. When I asked, she deflected with a kiss, but the air thickened, charged like the Sirocco winds. My own doubts crept in. An email from my agent. A big gig back in Brooklyn, deadlines looming. "Come home, Amber," my sister texted. "Spain's a fling, life's waiting." I stared at the screen, Amaya humming in the kitchen, and wondered if love could bridge oceans. The betrayal brewed slow, a poison in the well. It surfaced one humid afternoon in late summer, as cicadas droned outside her studio. I'd surprised her with tickets to the Feria de Abril's tail end. Bullfights skipped for casetas alive with sevillanas and sherry. She emerged from her easel, paint-smeared and radiant, but her phone buzzed insistently. Excusing herself, she stepped onto the balcony, voice rising in rapid Spanish. I shouldn't have listened, but curiosity is a thief.
Carmen, por favor.
I can't keep pretending. A pause, then softer. She's American, yes, but it's real this time. Tell her? No, not yet. My stomach plummeted. Carmen. Pretending? I slipped out, heart hammering, wandering the labyrinthine alleys until my feet ached. By dusk I returned to her door, knocking with knuckles white. She opened, concern etching her features. Amber? Where? Who's Carmen? The words escaped sharp as glass. Her face crumpled, a dam breaking. She pulled me inside onto the chaise, words tumbling. Carmen was her ex, the one from Barcelona, who'd returned months ago with promises of reconciliation, pressuring Amaya through family ties. They want me settled, traditional, she confessed, tears carving tracks through paint dust. But I ended it. Swear to you. Relief warred with hurt. Why hide it? Fear, she whispered. Of losing this. Of losing you. We clung then, apologies murmured into hair, but the seed of doubt took root. Trust, fragile as fresco, had cracked. The feria that night was a whirlwind of color. Women in mantilla combs and flounced dresses, men in Cordobés hats stamping rhythms into the dust. Amaya pulled me into a caseta, her hand possessive in mine, and we danced, bodies swaying to the guitar's cry. For hours the world narrowed to her laughter, the press of her against me in the throng. But as fireworks bloomed over the river, Javier's warning echoed, and I wondered if fire could warm without scorching. Back home the intimacy shifted, deeper yes, but laced with caution. She'd sketch me sleeping, capturing the worry lines I'd gained, and I'd wake to her gaze, heavy with unspoken pleas. We're okay, she'd ask, and I'd nod, but the question lingered like smoke. Fall crept in, leaves turning gold on the orange trees, and with it my deadline loomed. Amaya sensed it, her touches turning desperate. One evening, over paella at a riverside chiringuito, she slid a small velvet box across the table. A silver bracelet etched with siempre. Always. Wear it, she said, clasping it on. A promise. I traced the links, throat tight. And if I have to go? Her eyes darkened. Then take me with you. But promises, like bridges, bear weight until they don't. The conflict ignited on All Saints' Day, when Seville draped itself in marigolds and murmurs for the dead. We'd planned a quiet vigil at the cemetery, scattering petals for lost loves. Hers an old mentor who'd mentored her queerness in secret. Mine a grandmother whose letters from the 70s spoke of hidden dances in Greenwich Village speakeasies. But as we wandered the crypt-lined paths, her phone vibrated again, insistent as a dirge. This time she didn't step away. It's Carmen, she said flatly, screen glowing like an accusation. I nodded, feigning nonchalance, but my pulse raced as she answered, switching to Spanish, her voice a whip crack.
¿Qué quieres ahora? Te dije que se acabó.
What do you want now? I told you it's over. The reply was muffled, pleading, then venomous. Amaya's face paled, and she thrust the phone at me. Listen. I did, heart sinking. Carmen's voice, smooth as aged Rioja. Amaya, mi amor, your family's begging. Come to the wedding, mine and Javier's. Show them you're past this phase. For them. For us. Javier, the poet? The pieces slotted cruelly. The warnings, the sidelong glances at the collective. Betrayal, not just hers, but woven into the fabric of her world. Amaya snatched the phone back, ending the call with a curse. It's a trap, she spat. Carmen and Javier, childhood friends, now engaged to fix me in their eyes. They think if I see her happy straight, I'll fold. Rage boiled in me, hot and American, direct, unfiltered. And you? What do you think? She sank onto a marble bench, marigolds wilting in her lap. I think I'm tired, Amber. Of fighting ghosts. But I won't go. Not without you. We left the cemetery in silence, the bracelet heavy on my wrist. That night, in my bed, we held each other like anchors in a squall, her sobs soaking my shirt. I love you, she whispered, The words a lifeline tossed across the chasm. I echoed them, tasting salt, but doubt festered. Could love outrun legacy? The days fractured after that. My gig deadline pressed, emails piling like indictments. Amber, we need you stateside. This portfolio could launch you. Amaya threw herself into painting. Canvases birthing storms of indigo and crimson. Her studio a battlefield. I'd find her there, exhausted, and we'd make love. Not urgent but reverent. Mapping each other's scars with lips and whispers. Reaffirming what words couldn't. Yet the calls persisted. Her mother, voice thick with tears. Hijja, the family's ashamed. Carmen's wedding is in 2 weeks. Come home. Amaya would hang up, crumpling into me, but the erosion showed. Missed dinners, her sketches turning abstract, anguished. I confronted her one rain-lashed evening, as thunder rolled over the cathedral's spires. Go, I said, voice steady despite the ache. Face them. End it for good. Her eyes flashed. And leave you? To run back to Brooklyn alone. I'm not running. But you're drowning here. The argument escalated, words like arrows. My accusations of half-truths, her defenses of cultural chains I couldn't grasp. You think it's easy, Amber? Being the daughter who broke the mold? In Spain, family isn't optional. It's oxygen. And love. I shot back. Is that optional too? She recoiled as if slapped. Never. But maybe. Maybe we're asking too much of each other. The silence stretched, broken only by rain. I stormed out, wandering the flooded alleys, the bracelet chafing like a shackle. Hours later, I returned to an empty bed, her note on the pillow. Needed air. Te quiero. Always. Panic clawed me. I searched her studio, dark, the collective quiet. By dawn, Elena texted. Amaya at the river, staring at the water like it held answers. I found her on the Puente de Triana, winds whipping her curls, face streaked with tears. I called Carmen, she confessed as I approached. Told her no. Told Mama the truth. About you, about us. Relief flooded, but so did fear. And hurt. Fury. But it's done. She turned, eyes fierce. I choose us, Amber. If you'll have me. I pulled her close, the river rushing below. And in that embrace, the storm broke. Not into calm but into clarity. We were flawed, fractured but fused. The wedding loomed like a guillotine. Amaya's family severed ties, cousins unfriending on socials, her abuela's silence a deeper cut. She painted through it. A triptych of fractured mirrors reflecting lovers' faces, submitting it to a Madrid salon on a whim. Acceptance came via email, a lifeline. Exhibit opens in December. Bring your truth. Excitement sparked, but so did my crossroads. Thanksgiving neared. My flight booked, refundable. Stay, she begged over gazpacho in her kitchen. Or take me. I want to, I admitted. But my life is here, she interrupted gently. With me. The climax crested on a crisp November eve. As leaves skittered like confessions. We'd gone to the collective for solace, Javier there, sheepish in a ill-fitting suit. I didn't know. He stammered when Amaya confronted him. Carmen used me. Said it was to save you. Save me. Amaya laughed bitterly. From what happiness? The room tensed, eyes on us, but I stepped forward, voice cutting the hush. From love that doesn't bend to your rules. Javier left, tail tucked, but the damage lingered. Outside, under a canopy of plane trees, Amaya turned to me, voice breaking. What if they never accept us? What if I drag you down? Then we build our own world, I said, cupping her face. Brick by brick. She nodded, but tears fell. That night we lay awake, plotting. Her to Madrid for the show, me extending my visa. A shared apartment in the capital, dreams woven tight. But betrayal's echo whispered. Trust once broken, does it truly mend? December dawn crisp. The Sierra Nevada dusted in snow like powdered sugar on churros. Madrid welcomed us with its relentless pulse. Gran Via's thrumming with taxis, Retiro Park a green lung amid the stone. Amaya's exhibit was in a gritty gallery off Malasana. Walls scarred from decades of dissident art. Rompiendo cadenas, breaking chains, the triptych dominated. Mirrors shattering into prisms of color. Two women's silhouettes emerging from the shards, hands outstretched. The opening night was electric. Expats in berets mingled with locals nursing canas, whispers rippling as Amaya stood before her work. Me at her side in a borrowed black dress that made her eyes linger. To courage, she toasted when asked to speak, her voice steady. To loving without apology. Applause thundered. A critic from El País scribbling notes, but my pride swelled quiet, profound. Later, in a shadowed corner, she pulled me into a alcove, kissing me fierce and grateful. You believed when I couldn't. We'd sublet a tiny piso in Chueca, the queer heart of the city. Rainbow flags fluttering from balconies, bars spilling laughter into the night. Mornings were lazy. Her sketching at the window overlooking Plaza de Chueca. Me at my laptop, pitching designs infused with her colors. Evenings wandered Puerta del Sol's carillon chimes, sharing Heladu de Turin, her head on my shoulder as street musicians played Bésame Mucho. Healing came in layers. Amaya's phone stayed silent. No calls from Seville, just a terse postcard from her mother. Prayers for your path. It stung, but she framed it by the bed, a talisman of survival. I deferred my flight, emailing my agent half-truths about inspiration abroad. Brooklyn faded, a sepia memory. But conflict simmers, doesn't it? Mine resurfaced in a gallery after-party, where a sharp-suited curator, Lena, all angles and ambition, cornered me. Your sketches, Amber, they're fresh. Come to New York. I've got connections. Her card burned in my pocket, temptation wrapped in opportunity. I showed it to Amaya over coffee the next day, her face clouding. Go if you must, but don't leave me wondering. It's not leaving, I protested. Just a bridge. Bridges collapse, she murmured, echoing our first night's fears. The argument reignited old fissures. She accused me of 1 foot out the door, the American itch for reinvention. I fired back that her wounds made her cling too tight, projecting ghosts onto me. Words escalated in our cramped kitchen, plates rattling. You think love's a visa stamp? Easy come, easy go. And you? I hurled. Hiding behind art when family's the real canvas? She stormed out, slamming the door, and I collapsed against it, sobs racking. Hours ticked. Midnight markets hawking chestnuts, the city's hum indifferent. She returned at dawn, soaked from a sudden squall, eyes red-rimmed. I'm sorry, we chorused, collapsing into hugs. I love you, layered over apologies. But the curator's card stayed, a serpent in Eden. Climax brewed in the new year. As Madrid's skies cleared to azure, Amaya landed a commission, a mural for a LGBTQ+ center in Lavapiés, her brush birthing vines of intertwined hands climbing brick walls. I freelanced remotely, my portfolio blooming with Spain's light, but Lena's emails persisted. Opportunity knocks once. The breaking point came mid-January, during a rare family video call, my sister beaming from a snowy Queen's stoop urging, bring her home, ambassador mom's asking. Amaya hovered off-screen, waving shyly, but afterward tension crackled. What if I said yes? I ventured, voice small. To New York. For us, a fresh start. Her face shattered. Us? Or your escape? It's not. But she cut me off, grabbing her coat. I need space. The door clicked shut, softer than before but final. Panic propelled me through the day, sketching feverishly, streets blurring. By evening, I found her at the Retiro's Crystal Palace, silhouette against the glass dome, staring at koi swirling in the pond. Carmen called, she said without preamble, voice hollow. Said my mother's ill. Heart. Wants to see me. One last chance to bless this life. Betrayal's twin. Not hers but fate's cruel jest. Go, I urged, echoing my past self. I'll wait. She turned ice storms. And if she asks me to choose? My heart fractured. Then choose truth. We embraced there amid winter's bite, but she left at dawn, train to Seville, me alone in our bed, the bracelet mocking from the nightstand. Days stretched eternal. Emails from Lena went unanswered. My sister's calls ignored. I wandered Chueca's pride murals, tracing painted lips that mirrored Amaya's, wondering if love was a chain or wings. Her text came on the third night. Mama's stable. But she knows about us. Forgave, sort of. Coming home. To you. Relief crashed, but so did resolve. When she arrived, weary from the rails, I held her tight. I turned down New York, I confessed. Lena's card? Shredded. Her sob was joy mingled with grief. I choose us too. Every time. Spring unfurled then tentative cherry blossoms in the retiro, our hands entwined as we planned. A summer road trip to Costa Brava, her mural unveiling, my next exhibit tagged with Amaya. But humanism whispers. Endings aren't tidy. Scars remain, trust a daily tending. Yet in her gaze I saw eternity, not flawless but fiercely ours. Summer arrived in Madrid like a lover's return. Azahar perfume from orange blossoms, plazas pulsing with terrazzo crowds. Amaya's mural debuted to fanfare. Vines of diverse hands, brown, pale, scarred, climbing toward a sunburst sky, symbolizing bonds unbroken. The center's director teared up during the ribbon cut, pulling Amaya into a hug. "This heals," she said. I stood back, camera in hand, capturing her glow, my heart a quiet swell. We escaped to Costa Brava after, renting a fisherman's cottage in Cadax. Whitewashed walls hugging a cove where Dali once dreamed surreal. Days were idle. Mornings swimming nude in turquoise shallows, chase dips, laughter echoing off cliffs. Afternoons hiking Cala dotted with pines, her sketching seascapes while I read Hemingway aloud. His bulls and bars a wry counterpoint to our peace. Evenings on the terrace, vino rosado chilling in buckets, we'd unpack the year's weight. Mama wrote, Amaya shared one dusk as gulls wheeled. A letter. Says she's proud in her way. Invites us to Seville for Easter. I squeezed her hand, the bracelet glinting. We'll go. Together. Healing deepened. My family visited in July. Mom and sis wide-eyed at tapas bars, warming to Amaya over pitchers of sangria. She's a keeper, Mom whispered post-flight, hugging me fierce. Amaya blushed, but her posture eased, roots tentatively grafting. Yet drama lingers, a thread in life's weave. A gallery scout spotted my work at Amaya's show, offering a dual exhibit in Barcelona. Our names linked, styles entwining like our lives. Excitement buzzed, but so did fear. Exposure, scrutiny. What if they hate it? She fretted, pacing our piso. Then we paint over, I teased, pulling her down. But they won't. We're unstoppable. The show, Entrelazados, intertwined, opened in autumn, walls alive with her oils bleeding into my digital prints. Lovers' forms abstracted yet intimate, colors merging like dawn. Critics lauded the raw humanism, a queer love letter to resilience. Standing amid the murmur, Amaya's hand in mine, I felt it validation, not just for art but us. Winter brought quiet storms. Amaya's abuela passed, a gentle fate after years of quiet rebellion. We flew to Seville for the funeral, the barrio hushed under mourning veils. Her family, tentative, thawing, offered condolences, a cousin even slipping Amaya a photo of their abuela young, arm around a woman with knowing eyes. She understood, the cousin murmured. Amaya wept then, not just for loss but release. Back in Madrid, grief alchemized into creation. A joint piece, a diptych of shadowed figures emerging into light, dedicated to hidden hearts. It sold to a museum, proceeds funding a scholarship for young queer artists in Andalusia. A legacy humanistic and hopeful. As spring circled again, our second anniversary dawned. I woke to breakfast in bed, tortillas and fresh figs. Amaya beside me, curls tousled, eyes soft. 2 years, she marveled. Feels like always. I traced her jaw, voice thick. Because it is. We'd built more than survival. A community in Chueca's cafes, trips to Morocco's markets for spices and stories, even a dog. A scruffy galgo rescue named Luna, who slept between us like a furry chaperone. But the true climax? It wasn't fireworks or fractures, but a quiet dawn in Ronda, on that promised trip. We stood at the gorge's edge, mist rising from the depths, her head on my shoulder. Remember the party? She whispered. How could I forget? Shattered glass, stolen night. She turned, green eyes locking mine. And now? I knelt, not dramatic but deliberate, pulling a ring from my pocket, simple gold with intertwined vines. Now forever? Marry me, Amaya. Build every bridge with me. Tears spilled, her yes a breath, a vow. We kissed as eagles soared, the world vast and welcoming. The wedding was small, humanistic, Chueca's town hall. Then a feast in Retiro with collective friends, family bridging divides. My mom toasted to loves that cross seas. Amaya's cousin raising a glass to new traditions. Laughter flowed, free of shadows. Years unfold now, in a larger studio overlooking the Manzanares. Amaya teaches workshops, her fire kindling others. I run a design co-op, mentoring expats like once was me. Conflicts come. Visa hassles, creative droughts, the world's cruelties, but we face them hand-clasped. Betrayals scar, a reminder of strength. In quiet moments, as Luna snores and city lights twinkle, she murmurs, "Everything felt real that night." And I reply, "It still does." For in the end, love is an absence of storm, but dancing through it. Human, flawed, eternal.